not a super intriguing game, going to be honest, but the matchup that matters for me, I'm going to echo the point that I made on the Grades Release show that we had earlier this week. It is Sam Darnold in the red zone, because through the first 5 weeks of the season, when this team was 5-0, we were talking about the Vikings as a top 5 team in the NFL. I felt like they were really taking care of the football, and the offense was extremely efficient. And it has moments where it is still that, especially with TJ Hockenson in the lineup. But Darnold is getting into a bad habit of putting the ball in harm's way, specifically when entering the red zone. He had an interception and a turnover-worthy play in the red zone against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He had another interception and turnover-worthy play when they were just outside the red zone, I believe right around the 30-yard line, and he threw it into the red zone, and it was a turnover-worthy play. So there's 2 right there. He already, going into last week, had 3 turnover-worthy plays and 3 interceptions in the red zone, which was first in both categories at that point, and he continued to add to that last week against the Jags. So to me, this is a situation where the Vikings should be better than the Tennessee Titans. Now, that doesn't mean the Tennessee Titans can't win this game. They showed more fight than I thought that they were going to out in LA against the Chargers, and this one's now in Tennessee, so they certainly could be a surprise upset type of a team this week. But for me, it's about, can the Vikings control things a little bit more, and can Sam Darnold reel in those turnover-worthy plays? Specifically, what is his efficiency in the red zone? And I think the Titans got to know that, right? If we know that here talking on this show, you know that the Titans and their defensive coaches are looking at this saying, this guy's put the ball in harm's way when he has gotten into the red zone. It could be a major swing for us. Those could not only be, points off the board in terms of a field goal or a touchdown, but we could then maybe swing that all the way to go get points ourselves. So that's a major emphasis of this game. And the matchup that matters is, can Sam Darnold take care of the football in the red zone? And if they can, I think this will be enough of a Vikings offense and performance to win this football game. But that's just not only are turnovers like huge in games, no matter what, when you're turning the ball over when you are in the red zone, that's almost the biggest no-no that you could have, certainly as a quarterback. And unfortunately, Sam Darnold has been doing it more than any other quarterback. So can Titans bait him into doing that once again? And if they can't, maybe the Vikings can get back to really cruising like they were in the early parts of the season. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go kind of the other part of that equation, though, and it's that these Vikings wide receivers have been phenomenal because of the fact, you've got Justin Jefferson. He's the best receiver in football right now. And I don't think that there's much that anybody can say about that, given the fact that most catches gaining 15 or more yards for the Vikings, that's Justin Jefferson with 24 of them. 24! That's a lot, and that's very productive. And then you have Jordan Addison down at 8, which is still a very respectable number. Don't get me wrong. And those catches, especially for Jordan Addison, seem to come at the exact right time. It's incredible, kind of the clutch gene that Jordan Addison has when targeted by Sam Darnold, even, and when Sam Darnold really needs something. Somehow, a lot of the time, Jordan Addison comes up with it, whether or not that's a 15-yard or more throw, or it's just a really crucial third down that you need. Jordan Addison is phenomenal in those types of situations, and they're going up against some Vikings corners that have given up some yards here. Jarvis Brownlee, 356 yards in coverage. Roger McCreary, 156 yards in coverage. So you've got kind of an opportunity here to get right after what was kind of a stuttering game for the Minnesota Vikings offense last week. I'm not concerned really about the other side of things when you talk about, oh God, you got Brian Flores going against Will Levis is what I'm trying to get out here. And that's just,
yes.
For the way that Brian Flores can put quarterbacks in a blender and how Will Levis looks like he's in a blender most weeks. Anyway.
He was better last week.
He was. You're right. It was an overall better performance, I think, than Titans fans have been used to out of Will Levis. And that was kind of a concern going against that Chargers defense, which is very, very good. Yeah, this is going to be, I have to imagine that Brian Flores is going to trot out some crazy stuff here.
Yeah, so my plus factor, look, you brought up Will Levis, and my plus factor is Calvin Ridley, because right now it was sort of feast or famine with him last week. 76.0 receiving grade against the Chargers, 3 explosive plays. Those are the only 3 explosive plays that this passing game had. So Will Levis, I want to give him all due respect for how he played against the number 1 defense in the NFL, or certainly the one that statistically is playing like it. If you don't want to say the Chargers are number 1, you can't drop them too far down from number 1. I can tell you that. Yeah. So this is one of the best defenses in the league, no matter what. And I thought that Will Levis did a better job of being able to hit some of those explosive plays without really putting the ball in harm's way. And obviously, it's a journey for guys like him and Anthony Richardson as well. Just those types of gunslinger quarterbacks is always going to take a little bit of time. Certainly, we're seeing Caleb Williams go through that as well, and he's on the hesitancy side of things. And we need to, get him to actually put the ball into harm's way a little bit more, just because that's sort of where he is in his shell. But with Will Levis, if he's not connecting with Calvin Ridley, I don't know who he's connecting with. And so I think that certainly the run game obviously is something that has to get going with the Tennessee Titans. But in the passing game, it's got to go through Calvin Ridley, especially without DeAndre Hopkins on that team anymore. So to me, he's got to be sort of the obvious plus factor here in this game if they're going to keep up with the Vikings. What about you? What do you got?
Yeah, actually, in the same vein, I think that Tony Pollard has been running the football quite well, honestly, for this Tennessee offense, and that's again something that can help out Will Levis, help the offensive production in general. The thing is about Tony Pollard, so while he's 16th overall rushing grade among running backs with 20, at least 25 carries, but he only has 3 rushing touchdowns. So I want to see more production out of Tony Pollard and him getting into the end zone and being utilized in the red zone and stuff like that, because he is running the football quite well for this offense. And I think that's something that you can lean on if you're Will Levis. And behind an offensive line that has done some good things and can run block as well in the run blocking area in particular. So I want to see more scoring production out of Tony Pollard. And I think if he can get that could go a long way for the Tennessee Titans this game.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below. So if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.